The Super Dane is in the beam!
Music production, as for any professional medium, can be a pretty expensive and scary territory to venture out into. And just like any professional medium, there is a subculture for low-budget versions and workarounds for the professional version of that medium. And audio music production is no different than the rest. You can probably tell I did not write an introduction for this one, but the point is, this is a guide for low-budget music production, and yes, let's do it. The first thing that you want to consider when starting off with low-budget music production is your DAW, your digital audio workstation. Your DAW is probably the most important decision that you'll make, because there are so many, and all of them cost quite a bit of money. And there's really not any good way of getting around that. So once you've purchased that, there really isn't any going back. So make sure you do your research. But fortunately, I have this strategy for you that I like to call living off of included software. You might not have realized it yet, but if you take a stroll down to your local music store or go to Amazon, you'll notice that a lot of the products have included software, or software that's just bundled with the product. I was able to sustain myself for a pretty incredible time just living off of free software and plugins, but I'll talk about the plugins later. So basically what you should do is just research a MIDI keyboard, an audio interface, and a microphone, and just make sure that some of them have included software. You should also research the included software just to make sure you're getting something that you actually need. Just keep these two names in mind: Hybrid 3 and Ableton Live Lite. Ableton Live Lite is the Lite version of Ableton Live, and it's just a DAW. Hybrid 3 is this synthesizer plugin that I'll get into a little bit later. For those of you that are too impatient and just want to know what I got, just want to know the right answers to these questions, and just kind of copy off me, I'll tell you. I'll give you a little insight on what I started out with. I started out with the AKAI MPK Mini. This is a stupid name. I started out with the AKAI MPK Midi MK2 Midi key. I started out with the AKAI MPK Mini MK2. I started out with the AKAI MPK Midi MK2 Midi key. I started out with the AKAI MPK Mini MK2 Midi keyboard, which came with Hybrid 3, and that's it. The Focusrite Scarlet Solo USB audio interface, which comes with Ableton Live 9 Lite, some audio plugins, and a pack of samples. And the blue Snowball USB... I'm gonna stop waving my head around and do that all over again. I started out with the AKAI MPK Mini MK2 Midi keyboard, which is quite the name, which came with Hybrid 3, among other things. The Focusrite Scarlet Solo USB audio interface, which came with Ableton Live 9 Lite and some audio plugins, and a pack of samples. And the USB Snowball USB microphone, which didn't come with anything. You can check out the full list of included software by visiting the official websites or the shop page. Links are in the description. Like I said, your DAW is the most important thing, because it's the thing that you're going to be trusting to take your musical sounds and put them together and then export them I started off using GarageBand, and that's good for beginners. It's got all the basic stuff, but you know, it's got that classic Apple. It's got all the right stuff, but it's just missing a few essential things that make you want to buy Logic. So it eventually just became clear that GarageBand was too limiting for me. So that is when I started using Ableton Live 9 Lite, the included software that I mentioned earlier. Ableton Live 9 Lite is pretty much the intro edition of Live 9, which with some very minor exceptions. So I wouldn't recommend, if you do get that version, I don't recommend upgrading to Live 9 Intro Edition, because it's essentially the same. You're just paying $100 extra for 4 extra tracks. Because Live 9 Lite only gives you 8 tracks, and Intro gives you 16. And there are several workarounds to the 8-track problem in Ableton Live 9 Lite. Like, for instance, you could use the instrument rack and then put on some scale things. I don't know. I know what I'm talking about, but you can make it so that way part of the keyboard controls one instrument and the other half of the keyboard controls the other. And it doesn't even have to be halves. You can do quarters. You could do singular notes. Each note controls a different instrument. If that's... You don't really want to do that. That's not... No, don't do that. But after a while, the track limit just started getting in the way of things, like linking tracks together, stuff like that. Technical stuff. So that brings us to today, where I recently purchased Reason 10 Essentials, which is $69. And by the way, the full version of it is $400, so it's a pretty good deal. But I haven't quite used it enough yet to have a solid opinion about it. But so far, it's just all positive. It seems like a really practical alternative. Also, if you're really desperate, you can use Audacity, which is this free multi-track recording software. It's not really targeted towards music, just audio in general. So, if you want to do things the old school way, Audacity is the way to go. You weirdo. Another thing that you're gonna need are VST instruments, or VSTIs. These are just plugins that are instruments that accept MIDI notes coming from the keyboard and outputs some sound that your DAW handles. Whether it be a synth, a sampled instrument, or just about anything. Actually, I think those are the only two things that it could possibly be. It can either be real or it can be synthetic. My favorite VSTI to this day is Hybrid 3. I need to go get the prop that I need for this segment. My favorite VSTI to this day is Hybrid 3. And I got that with my AKAI MPK Mini, which I can't use anymore because the key broke. I didn't break it. I'll tell you that. It was my buddy CJ. Anyway, yeah, I got it with my AKAI MPK Mini for free, I guess you could say. And it claims to be an analog synthesizer, but it can do a lot more than just some dinky old electronic analog synthesizer can do. Here, listen to this entire song that I made just using the presets from Hybrid 3. Although it is extremely versatile, Hybrid 3 won't satisfy all of your needs. A good resource for free VST instruments and plugins is vstforfree.com. It's got a whole bunch of VST audio unit plugins, for just about anything. And they're pretty good too. So I'd recommend go check it, giving that website a click. I'll save you the trouble and give you a little hyperlink in the description. Something you might not even have thought of using is that if you have an electronic piano at home, that has like a ton of different sounds on it that you could use for your music. Unless you have one of those crummy 5-instrument ones, where it's just like piano, strings, organ, other piano. Boring. Just plug your piano into your audio interface, and then you're all set. Here's another song that I made just using the sounds from the piano. If you're afraid of not being able to quantize your MIDI notes, well, too bad, because you're gonna have to learn how to use a metronome. You sucker.
Do you want an electric guitar but already have an acoustic guitar? Well, you're in luck because you can purchase a pickup for your acoustic guitar for really cheap. Be sure to research the one you're purchasing before you check out. Do you want to purchase an audio interface for your laptop just to record some silly tunes on your guitar? Do you even have a laptop? Well, if you have an iPad, look into the iRig line of products. They provide different ways of plugging your instruments into all your devices, including MacBooks and iPads. Here's a product called the iRig 2. You can plug your guitar into it, and I'm not really sure what this is for, and plug it into your notebook or notepad. But make sure to turn down your metronome when you record, because the output bleeds into the input, and there's no way around that. Do you not already own an electronic piano? Do you not have enough Benjamins to purchase one? Just buy a toy piano. They'll work. Just look at this one. It's super small, and it only cost $50. Look at this guy. He's like 50 years old, and he makes YouTube videos about toy keyboards. If he can do it, then you can do it.
Thanks for watching this video on low budget music making. I didn't work that hard on it, so should I make more of these videos? Should I turn this into a series? If you have any questions about the stuff that I talked about in this video, or if you just want me to make a whole separate video about one thing I talked about in the video, just go ahead and shoot me a comment down in the comments. If you liked this video, go ahead and give it a like and subscribe if you haven't already. And if you know someone that you think might benefit from this video, just go ahead and share it with them. Send it to them.
And with that, I bid you adieu.